So in this lesson, we have three objectives we want to cover. We want to be able to apply the point slope formula of a line. We want to be able to use parallel and perpendicular slopes to interpret those. And we also want to be able to use linear functions to model data. So starting off with the point slope form of a line, if you think back to the previous lesson where we talked about slope intercept form of a line, specifically, let's look at example 10 from the previous lesson. In example 10 from the previous lesson, they gave us a point on the line and they gave us the slope of the line. And what we had to do in order to write the equation for the line is we had to solve for b, because what we talked about in the previous lesson was the slope intercept form of a line. So we already had m, we plugged in x, we plugged in y, and we had to go solve for b. What we're going to see in this lesson is that there's a way for us to write the equation of the line without necessarily solving for b, just using a point on the line and the slope of the line. And we can do that using point slope form. So what point slope form tells us is that if the slope of the line is m, so using the same symbol we used before, and the line goes through some point x1, y1, then we can write the equation of the line as y is equal to as y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So now let's actually apply that. So in example 1, we want to write the equation of a line that passes through -4, 2 and has a slope of 2. So I'm just going to rewrite, this thing will slide. I'm just going to rewrite the point slope formula for a line, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And I'm just going to go ahead and start plugging things in here. The point x1, y1 was given to us, so my x1 is -4, the x coordinate of that point. My y1 is 2, the y coordinate of that point. So I have y minus 2 is equal to, they gave us m is 2, so I'm plugging in 2 for m. X minus, x1 is -4, so I'm subtracting a -4 here. I'm just going to simplify that subtraction of a -4 because it's really an x plus 4, because two negatives make a positive. So this is the equation of the line in point slope form. That is the equation of the line in point slope form. And it's called point slope form because you can very quickly look at that line and see a point that it goes through, -4, 2, and you can see the slope of the line, which is 2. I'm going to graph the line just from that information, and then we're going to go back and we're also going to write the line in slope intercept form, which is the form that we saw in the previous lesson. So to graph this line, I know it goes through -4, 2, so I'm first just going to plot the point -4, 2. The slope is 2. That's 2 over 1. That is my rise over my run. So I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. So I went up 2 and right 1. I can continue to do that to get some more points on the line. Up 2, right 1. I can do that for as long as I want to. And then I'll just connect these points. And I can see, that looks pretty good, the graph of the line right there. Okay, now let's also write the line in slope intercept form. What do we have to do to have the line in slope intercept form? We need to have the line solved for y. So what I'm going to do with this equation here, the point slope form, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to distribute this 2. So I now have y minus 2 is equal to 2x plus 8. And then I'm going to add 2 to both sides, because in order to be in slope intercept form, I hope I haven't been mixing these words up. In order to be in slope intercept form, we need to have the equation solved for y. So both of those answers that are circled are both different versions of the same equation of the same line. The first one is point slope form, and the second one is slope intercept form. Okay. In slope intercept form, we can very quickly look and see, hey, b is 10, which matches what we see on the graph. We do have a y-intercept at 0, 10. in point slope form, you can very quickly look and see that the point -4, 2 is on the line. When you're working with point slope form and you're picking off a point, you have to change your signs because this form has these minus signs already built into it. So -4, +2 for that point on that line. Okay, let's look at example 2. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to write the line in point slope form because that's very easy if we have a point and the slope. In point slope form, we fill out y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. y1, you don't plug in for these. Okay, we're not plugging in for these, at least not when we write the equation. The equation needs to have the x and the y in it. We're plugging in for x1 and y1. y1 is the y coordinate of the point they gave us, which is 0, equals m is the slope of the line, which was given to as -2/3. We don't plug in for that x, they keep that x there, and x1 is the x coordinate of the point that they gave us, which in this case is 5. You don't need to keep that 0 there. You could just rewrite this as simply y is equal to -2/3 x minus 5. Either one of these would be okay with me for the point slope version of the line. Now let's go ahead and graph it. I know the line passes through 5, 0, so I'll go to the point 5, 0. My slope is -2/3. I'll think of the -2 as my rise, and the 3 is my run. It'll be fine. So we're going to go down 2 and write 3. Down 2, because the 2 is negative, and write 3. Down 2, write 3. We also could have gone up 2 and left 3. Different ways to think about it. And now I'm just going to connect these points. Put arrows on the end. There's the graph of my line. To write this line in now slope intercept form, we need to, that is the form y is equal to mx plus b. We need to have the equation solved for y. The equation is already pretty much solved for y. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just distribute this -2/3 right here, okay? Because right as is, this is not slope intercept form. To get sloped intercept form, we need to distribute that -2/3 to have a -2/3 x plus distribute the -2/3 to the -5, multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. The 5 has a denominator of 1, even though we don't see it, and this will give us plus 10/3. So there is the line now in slope intercept form. We can see that the y-intercept of that line is 10/3, which is a little bit more than 3, and that matches up what we see on the graph as well.